Grab it.
Oh, he got it. Oh, look at that little guy. He has a tail. That's good. Hi, so my name is Emily Stone and I'm the Naturalist and Education Director at the Cable Natural History Museum, and today we are in the Namekagon Fen State Natural Area. This is a pretty amazing spot on the Chequamegon Nicolet National Forest in northwest Wisconsin, and 10,000, 11,000 years ago, as the glaciers were melting, there was a huge ice block that broke off and was buried by sediment in this location. And over hundreds of years that ice melted and left negative space in the sediment. So now we have this super deep hole, and since then water has filled in, it is in contact with groundwater, and then plants started creeping in from the edges. Sphagnum moss grew on those plants, things died and dropped to the bottom, more stuff grew in, and you basically keep growing more of a mat of peat, which is poorly decomposed plant matter. And now we have this amazing ecosystem with tons of really cool plants and lots of symbiotic relationships and things you just don't find anywhere else. But there are pitcher plants out here. This is cotton grass, which is really fun. The pitcher plant flower is right there. Pitcher plant.
We got some here. If anybody doesn't see the pitcher plants yet.
There's some right in front of us right here.
And pitcher plants, if you guys are still listening, pitcher plants are one of the most amazing things on Earth. You guys all like symbiotic relationships as mycologists, right? Yeah. So, first of all, this is a modified leaf. And there's little downward pointing hairs here. And there's a very sweet smelling nectar rim right here. So insects, especially ants, will crawl in, crawl down, slip off, drown in the pool. They can't crawl back up the little hairs. And then in that pool are, if we're lucky, this one doesn't, there is a flesh fly larva, which is like the cookie monster of the pitcher plant leaf. So an ant falls in, and the flesh fly larva completely shreds it with lots of crumbs. You think of Cookie Monster, like rah, 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 rah. So those crumbs filter down through the water column, and then there is a specific species of mosquito whose larvae live in pitcher plants and nowhere else. It's the only one, and they're filter feeders. So they eat the crumbs. And then down in the bottom, there's midge larvae who have gills, so they can breathe down there. Mosquitoes have to go up and down to the surface, and they're absorbing everything else. Plus, rotifers, there's probably some aquatic fungi in here, who knows, there are lots of little micro stuff. That actually is the digestive system. And then down here in the base, there are cells of the pitcher plant without a cuticle, so that they absorb nutrients, mostly nitrogen and phosphorus, directly from the water. If you remove any one of those three major characters in the system, everyone else is less well off. It is more than the sum of its parts.
Huh. And it's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. The red is anthocyanin, which is a sunscreen pigment.
Wow.
And oftentimes pitcher plants that are not shaded in the stuff will just turn completely red for the winter.
Yeah, like that one's pretty red over there.
Yeah. As a sunscreen, when they don't have chlorophyll to capture the sunlight into photosynthesis, they need to protect their cells from sun in other ways. And that's cranberries also have anthocyanins. That's why they're healthy for you.
I have snowshoes in my car. I think that would have been a better way to walk around.
Or just barefoot.
Do
So,
you see these critters you're talking about?
yeah, okay.
Oh,
I
hell yes.
should have brought my...
Oh, wow.
So these are the mosquito larvae in my palm right now.
And in my buckets in front of my house.
Oh. But these, the most, these are special.
Mm-hmm.
These don't bite humans.
Cool.
This is such a rich environment. These guys are so well fed, they do not need a blood meal as an adult.
That's really crazy.
So you guys can like these mosquitoes.
Nothing.
I like them.
Yeah,
I like them a lot.
So we'll see. Usually
moving
I bring
down
a
the food
clear,
chain.
mostly still mosquitoes, since this one didn't have the flesh fly larva.
Oh, that's big? Like,
The big round one.
Quarter inch?
Oh, I thought he was putting the big one.
Not the cotton.
so he's the top of the food chain. in
He
here.
is. He would eat these guys, but they kind of try and stay out of his way.
I think they sabotaged him.
All right, so those are still all mosquito larvae. The midge larva, we'll have to peel it open to see. Sorry, I forgot my little jar, guys. I didn't bring my backpack. So you can see that the inner wall is really slippery down here below the hairs. And so,
No way.
this is the carnage that it has wrought.
I love doing this.
I know.
Just comparing
It
so
never
many
gets old.
weird, crazy things.
Oh man.
Exactly, dude. It's like processing-
So,
Oh man, there they are.
there's midge larvae, there's some mosquito larvae that kind of got stranded.
You can see the midge larva.
And then, man, if I had the water there, you can often pick out like insect parts that were undigested. Grasshopper legs are pretty common to find. They're pretty tough.
Wow.
And the other cool thing about this carnage is that it doesn't smell at all. All of the nutrients are being so efficiently absorbed that there's nothing left to stink.
Can I see the cup?
Was it kind of anaerobic?
Yeah, I'm just curious on that.
It is anaerobic, I think, at the bottom, yeah.
Oh, you can feel those hairs.
Yeah.
Can you?
They're very...
That is bizarre.
I have never dared to pick a leaf of it.
Hi, my name is Bruch Reed. I'm from Chicago, and I'm with the Illinois Mycological Association, also New York Mycological Society, and I'm the Executive Secretary of North American Mycological Association. We are here in the largest fen in Wisconsin, largest sphagnum fen, here among the dwarf black spruce and dwarf tamarack, and we're looking at mushrooms, and apparently all these trees have mycorrhizal relationships that enable them to survive in this lush yet sere environment. It's very acidic. This beauty is a hygroscopy mushroom, and you might see this in the woods, but the stem, which I was unable to get without digging, would be long, long, long. Maybe another foot after this, where I broke it off. This is hygroscopy punica, and you can see the intense colors. I definitely would not eat this to answer half of people's questions, but it's definitely beautiful, and it's just such a special thing to be out here, and an honor to talk about mushrooms in a very strange environment. Thank you.
At the museum here. So this is a beak rush. This little guy, white beak rush, and that's a lot of the grassy stuff you're seeing is their leaves. And we are also seeing these, there's two species here with these kind of inrolled evergreen leaves. And so one is bog rosemary and one is bog laurel.
That's
and
what I grabbed it right away because I'm like, ooh, this is bog rosemary.
yeah.
Does this?
And the way that you tell the difference is that one is opposite and one is alternate. And so bog laurel and hardy, laurel played opposite hardy, that's my mnemonic for it, is opposite. And bog rosemary is alternate.
Oh,
It's
nice.
the
They're
other
right
one.
next to each other. Perfect.
And this is Rose from Wisconsin Mycological Society. I'm here with my friend Brooke, and we found some really exciting stuff right here. This is a bog Gallerina, Gallerina Palandosa. And what do you have there, Brooke?
I have also Gallerina Palandosa. I picked these specimens to give to the Field Museum because Gallerinas in bogs are very poorly studied. But we can see the features of Gallerina, the marginate pileus in cap, the ribbing of the gills from underneath, and there should be a ring, but I have a feeling that the wetness out here just washes it off. But those are classic Gallerina gills. Super excited to hold in my hand. On the other end of the spectrum, okay, this is an edible mushroom that we found in the bag, an edible species anyway. Craterellus tubiformis. You can see the tube forming there, and it's got the yellow stipe, and yeah, good scent to it. This one, I don't know if it's a different species or not. It's growing in a very unusual environment, very long stiped. out in the fen, the largest fen in Wisconsin. But it's nice to see a familiar mushroom in an unfamiliar habitat.
And so they have little hairs that are dew tipped, and there's two kinds of dew. There is sticky, sugary
I can
dew.
feel Eddie walking.
Yeah, be careful, guys.
I'm trying not to.
You're going down, man. I can see it.
It's slow, but it'll happen.
Go around it, Mike.
Okay. People do disappear in these things. I've never lost anybody, but
No worries.
so the longer hairs are sugar tipped and sticky, and so they attract and then capture the insect. They actually suffocate it by gumming up its spiracles, its breathing holes. And then the leaf curls in around it, and there's shorter hairs that are tipped with digestive juices. And then the leaf absorbs the nitrogen and phosphorus and then opens back up and resets. So there's a couple species, round leaf sundew and spoon leaf sundew, and then a
Both
super
species
rare.
here?
Yep, both species
Cool.
here. There's a New England sundew, Novo anglicae, that is super rare in Wisconsin, but the local botany professor just found a couple records. So, if anybody wants a closer shot, you're welcome to hold on to it yourself, and then we'll just nestle it in somewhere where it can grow again.
Bites?
I've never seen it before in my life.
And there's a couple different species that vary often.
So where did Brad fall in? Like over here?
No, it was over there.
Oh, crossing?
And the reason we have a moat is because that's where the decomposition is actually happening. There's warm runoff flowing in with nutrients and oxygen, and it stirs everything up so that things are actually decomposing over there. That's why the bog mat doesn't extend all the way to the edge. So that's a
Will
really
it at some
common.
point?
What's that?
Will it at some point?
Possibly. So with fens, you know, these pools here are still open partly because of the influence of groundwater and all of that flow. You know, I guess it depends on your time scale. So depending on your time scale, this could be forest, completely dry at some point.